Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me for a video today that I am very excited to get to. You may have seen recently on the channel that I made the decision and I documented it in a video to sell my 1958 Topps All-Star subset. All 21 cards, I sold the entire thing as a lot off eBay to keep the fees down to one buyer. I had had the set for over 15 years. Many of the cards were not really, didn't really have the attributes that I look for now, 15 years later, in vintage, and it was time to just move on. So got a decent chunk of change for that. I've been on the hunt ever since to try to figure out what to buy with the funds that came in. Trying to be very selective and patient to make sure that I get really good value because it was a good set that I gave up. But I have the first card in today that just arrived, and it's a perfect complement to another card that I've had for years, but I've never shown on YouTube. And it's actually a pretty monster card. I can't believe I've never shown it. So this is the perfect opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. We'll look at that really big card from my collection, and then we'll tie it to the recent pickup that I made that I'm really proud of as well. So thanks for sticking with me through that wordy intro. And now we'll turn the camera around and show off the goods. All right, you have probably guessed at this point based on the title of the video, and if not that, certainly the backdrop. But this video is going to just briefly get into Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe. And I'm certainly not an expert on either of these individuals. I don't claim to be. I'm just a fan of the game of baseball and American culture and history and collecting cards. So if I make any errors or omissions here, I hope you'll forgive me, but just to, beyond DiMaggio being, one of the best hitters in the history of baseball, they represent two cultural icons in a very interesting time in American history and are obviously tied together. And so wanted to start off by showing my best, by far, Joe DiMaggio card. I think I did show this off on my blog way back in the day when I first picked it up. But I managed to score this by selling a soccer card that I pulled out of a pack myself in 2018 and used the proceeds to buy this Joe D. So this is the 1940 play ball Joe DiMaggio in a PSA 3. I mean, look at that image. So awesome. You've maybe seen this card before. It's, a very noteworthy image and certainly a popular card. This is the type of card that I never thought in my entire life, including right up until I purchased it, that I would ever own. To have a playing day Joe DiMaggio card in my collection is absolutely mind-blowing to me. And yeah, again, just something if you told me as a kid or even as an adult was going to happen, someday, I wouldn't have believed you. I still take this out every month or so and just stare at it for a few minutes and just smile. It's absolutely awesome. It's one of my favorite baseball cards in my entire collection, and really excited to finally bring it to the channel. And the fact that I was able to realize a card like this and add a card like this to my collection due to a soccer card that I pulled out of a pack that I think cost me $2. It also represents one of my greatest flips, cardboard flips, I guess, in all the time that I've been in the hobby. So great Joe D here. I love how the image kind of goes nicely with this relic card, which is really my only other significant DiMaggio card. I sent that in my first ever and still only so far SGC submission a couple months back. But I love that relic with the pinstripe, and I love that I have this playing era card to go with it. It's a PSA 3. It looks absolutely fantastic. The back is fully intact as well. I'll leave this here in case you want to pause it and read the write-up. I'm certainly not going to go through the entire thing. But I mean, you can't go wrong with any Joe DiMaggio card in any condition that's from the era when he was actually playing baseball. So that's about all I have to say about that one. I'm not going to attempt in this video to give a career summary of Joe DiMaggio or Marilyn Monroe for that matter. There are a lot of other people that are way better in that than I am, or more experts in that than I am. Or you can just go look it up on the internet. But again, my fascination is just, with him, it's being an all-time great hitter and ball player, and wanting to have my collection have a representation of as many of the all-time greats as I can. And then also the fact that he transcended the sport and was really like an American celebrity and icon. And while she wasn't an athlete, the same could be said as far as that latter point about Marilyn Monroe and being an actress. She really transcended her career as an actress and became, a pop culture icon, not only in our country here in the United States, but worldwide. And I would guess out of the two of them, Marilyn Monroe is probably the more popular worldwide and more widely known personality across the globe here in 2023 compared to Joe D. So with that lengthy buildup and that awesome Joe DiMaggio card out of the way, here is the first card that I picked up from my 58 Topps All-Star sale. It is a non-sport, obviously, 1954 A&BC Film Stars. This is a company out of England that was making a bunch of different sets, non-sport and some soccer sets as well, in the 50s and 60s. Card number 123 from the third series, Marilyn Monroe, starring in 20th Century Fox's River of No Return. You can see the A&BC chewing gum across the top here. I did not do this on purpose, I swear. This is the only copy of this card I've seen in the brief amount of time that I've been looking for it. But I love a couple of things about it, card-wise, as it relates to Joe DiMaggio. It's black and white, so it is the perfect companion card to the play ball in that sense. And it just so happens that both of them graded out at a PSA 3. So I have matching black and white PSA 3 playing era or acting era cards of this Hollywood power couple. I don't confess to know much about this set. I should have and could have easily done some more research on it prior to shooting this video, but it's not really that important to me. I picked up this card just because I fell in love with this card. It's not something that I was even aware of or specifically searching out. I will say I was partially influenced by my friend Jason at Contrarian Cards, who's been showing off a lot of movie star cards from the 50s and even older than that. In recent videos, I really dig that aspect of his collection, so I guess that's had it on my mind, and is one of the reasons I was looking at Monroe cards, but wasn't very high on the list until I stumbled across this card, and the image on this one just captivated me. This is, for someone who was not born until, a couple of decades after she had passed, I don't have any personal experience or memories of her in my lifetime. But as a younger person who heard about her as a cultural icon, this image is exactly how I think of Marilyn Monroe when I think of her in my mind. It's just a very captivating, very interesting image of a Hollywood icon. And as soon as I saw the image, the card just spoke to me. I didn't do any research on this at all, other than enough to realize that this was the only copy I could find, other than a pretty beat up one in a complete set, at all, available on the internet for sale. So I set a relatively high snipe on it, but it came in actually very, very affordable card, well below what I was willing to pay. And I'm just in love with it. On its own, it's an amazing card. And I'll pause for a second just to show there's really no back to this. It's just a blank back card. In fact, you can kind of see the image on the front through the back because it's a thinner piece of cardstock. But yeah, I was just drawn to this based on the image and the fact that it makes a completely perfect pairing with the black and white DiMaggio. And they obviously had, at times a very contentious relationship. Their marriage was extremely brief in nature, did not last very long, and they were kind of known for fighting and drama, but it did seem like later in her life, towards the end, as she was really struggling, DiMaggio allegedly, kind of made an effort to help get her on the right path and try to involve himself in her life again. I think he never really fell out of love with her, as I understand it. And I don't know if there's any truth to this or not, but I've heard elsewhere that, on his deathbed, he was, excited at the prospect of seeing Marilyn again. So, obviously a connection between those two human beings that was quite strong. And I just find that fascinating in that they were two kind of titans of their own respective industries and careers, and really rose to the point of being household names for everybody that lives in in the United States and beyond. So I've gabbed on long enough, but I really wanted to make an effort to underscore just how grateful I am to have both of these cards in the collection, and just what a cool pair I think these make together. I can't think of a better Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe pair of cards to have together in matching slabs like this. I will always associate these two with each other in my mind and in my collection. And for that reason, I am thrilled with this first pickup from the proceeds of my 1958 Topps All-Star set. So I sold 21 58 All-Stars, and so far, at least as far as what I've chronicled here on the channel, bought back just the one Marilyn Monroe, but that was barely a nick in the overall funds that I received from that transaction. So I have more awesome cards coming that I have picked up, but for now, I just wanted to focus on that one. So stay tuned for some of the other, the fallout from some of the remaining proceeds from that sale. But for today, I really appreciate you checking this one out. Would love to hear from you in the comments if you collect any non-sports or found this card to be interesting, or whether it's something that's not up your alley and you'd rather just stick to sports. Either way, would love to hear from you. I appreciate your time, and I will be back very soon with some more content. Till then, keep enjoying the hobby, everybody.